हमें बोला गया कि आप मत करें ना ना निहारे का नहीं का पता नहीं उनकी आपस में बात हो रही है ऐसा मतलब कुछ डायरेक्टली नहीं मेरी बात हो रही थी तो वो पूरी डिपार्टमेंट वाला है ना मेरा तो उसमें बड़ा बंगला है थोड़ा उसके अंदर के डिपार्टमेंट कि इंस्ट्रूमेंट सिक्योरिटी सेट अलग लगा हुआ और अगर जैसा ऑर्डर लगा हुआ तो फिर मैंने मेरी बात सुनी थी कि कागज का बड़ा आइटम है तो उसके साथ काम कर लो जी बिल्कुल आपने आपका ओपन करा हाँ मतलब अगर ऐसे भी का सैंपल है अच्छा तो मैं एक बात बता कह रहे कि एसीपी के अंदर सेट करके आप करते हैं ना तो वहां से कोई लेंथ में नाप होता तो कौन से कॉलम में आती है अभी किसमें भाई सेम एक बार इतने ने कहा था कि जैसे इंस्टॉल किया मैंने ओडी काम आ गया शुरू से ओडी बाद में वो बाद में भी आते तो ऐसा कर सकते हैं ना कॉन्वर्सेशन में भी होगा तो पकड़ लेगा ठीक है या तो मैं निहारिका से वो प्लान डाउनलोड कैरी और आपने धीरे बोले एक सेकंड कौन हाँ बढ़िया बढ़िया MCGARRIGL
I request all the participants to be on mute. We'll start at our scheduled time, that is 4 p.m. I request all the participants to be patient. We'll start at our scheduled time, that is 4 p.m.
दिखना नहीं मेरे को।
Yeah, I'm there on the screen.
स्क्रीन फुल
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Very good
Rather,
morning.
good afternoon. My bad.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon. Yeah, Aniket.
Hello,
Yes, hello.
how are you?
I'm fine. And you?
Nice to see you.
Yeah. Same here, same here.
I'm excited to see you, Brijesh.
Yeah,
How are
it's been.
you?
I'm
Fine
fine. I'm
already?
fine. And thank you.
Actually, seeing your name, I enrolled myself into this program.
So nice of you, ma'am. So nice of you. Thank you. Really, just let us try the best of the things to come. No?
One the difference
I
है
know,
जरूर ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਮਾਰਾ
I
ਕੋਈ
know.
ਚੀਜ਼ ਸਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੱਸਣ ਦੀ ਵੇਖਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ
173,
ਹੂੰ
174,
ਹੂੰ
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, good afternoon.
Very good afternoon, sir.
Sir.
Yeah, most welcome.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Call. किसी को फोन करता हूँ
ಬೇಡ ನನಗೆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪೂನ್ ತಗೊಂಬ ಇದು ಕೂಡ ದುಪ್ಪಟ್ಟ ಕೊಡು ಅದು ಡಬ್ಬ ಕೊಡು ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ಅಭ್ಯಾಸನೇ ಹೊರಟೋಗಿದೆ ನಾನು ಮೀಟಿಂಗಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಸ್ಬೇಡ ನಿಂಗೆ ಏನು ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇದ್ರು ನೀನು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀಯೋ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ತೊಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಟವಲ್ ತಗೋ, ಹೊಸ ಟವಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ನೋಡು, ಕಿಚನ್ ಟವಲ್ ಒರ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ. ಅಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿರೋದು ದೇವ್ರ ಒರ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ. ಬಾಬನ್ ಆಮೇಲೆ ತೊಳೆಯೋಣ. ಆ 1 ಡ್ರಾಪ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ತೊಳಿಬೇಕು ಬಾಬಂದು. ಬಾಬನ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬೆಳ್ಳಗ್ ಮಾಡು, ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಬ್ಲೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿ ಬಾಬಾ. ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ಸತ್ಯ ಟೀ.
I request all the participants to keep their mic muted.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
We've joined a little early.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, good afternoon to one and all.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody.
Hello. Hello.
भेज दिया. Send it.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hello. Good afternoon.
आवाज नहीं
Good
आ रही.
afternoon, everybody. That's great.
Hello.
पर ये ऐसे नहीं चल रहा, एसी नहीं
Hello,
चल रहा.
sir. Yeah, I have sent it, sir. I have sent.
Hello.
हाँ, email भेज दिया, sir. अभी.
Good afternoon.
हाँ. हो जाएगी. अभी मैंने email तुरंत भी भेज दिया है और WhatsApp का नंबर डाल के भी आप हो सकते हैं. एक मिनट लगेगा. Yes, sir. Okay.
अच्छा वो मुझे बंद करेगा, ये नहीं करना ना गुरु.
Okay, sir. बंद करो, बंद. इससे चल रहा है.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
sir.
Good afternoon. Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am. It's already just the rain has started.
Good afternoon,
Outside.
sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Yeah, most
doctor.
welcome.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon. Just 4 sessions.
हाँ तो मैंने सब प्रोग्राम
Hello.
Hello, sir. Welcome to the webinar.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dr. VP Singh.
Okay, sir. Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar to all and namaskar to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I mean, a person from NCRT, Delhi, it really encourages.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And, it's really pleasure to see all our friends more because most of, the participants, we have made some place or the other, like.
Okay, sir. So we are grateful to you for giving us this opportunity for this interaction.
Sir, this is the time, particularly the lockdown time, like across the globe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is probably the best thing we can do all together.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Pramod Tiwari this side.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Good afternoon, Pramod ji. Yeah. So
sir,
I'm audible, no, sir? It's okay, no? Voice is okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Your voice is okay. You are audible, sir.
Okay, thank you. Because, just for last 2-3 minutes, we are getting very heavy rains. Very heavy rains. It's dark here, although it's 4 o'clock only and it's dark.
There were some technical glitch also. Maybe due to that.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Yeah, Dr. Arman. Dr. Arman, you are welcome. Most welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Yeah, most welcome. Yeah, so nice of you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Hello, Dr. Pare.
Good afternoon to all.
Yeah. Hi, Dr. Arman.
How are you?
Oh,
to meet
Anand
you.
Kumar. Very pleasant face, huh? From Doon.
Yes, sir. Okay. So, how are you, sir?
I'm fine, sir. Just very, of course, happy. Just and waiting for you all guys. So have some deliberations.
Even it's raining in Dehradun.
Dehradun, here also, sir, it's raining very heavy. Yeah. I hope everything will be fine.
Yeah.
Lena Francis, madam, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Lena, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Most welcome. Newton has come, yeah.
Yeah.
The Newton has come, the Einstein has to come, that's all, and then we'll start. My friend, the Newton Pati from
Good afternoon.
Raigad.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon.
Rajesh Pandya has come from Mumbai. That's great.
Good afternoon, sir. This side Kavita from Delhi.
Oh, yeah, Kavita, ma'am, yeah.
Yes. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. Thank you for coming and joining us.
Thanks for giving us this opportunity, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this,
We were eagerly waiting for this.
We were just talking, to just a minute before, that is probably the only thing we could do together, in such a time like this.
Good afternoon, Vijay sir. Karuna from Helcon International.
Oh, yes,
good afternoon.
Welcome.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Annie Thomas from St. Gabriel's, Jabalpur.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Neema from Doha, Qatar, Ideal Indian School.
Oh yeah, that's wonderful. That's great. That's good.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Divya Jori from.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Yes. Good afternoon, sir. This is Mahati from Bangalore.
Oh,
BGS,
lovely.
yeah, BGS National Public School.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for
Good
coming.
afternoon.
Thank you.
This is Preeti Ahuja from Step by Step.
Oh, step by step, right. Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, Preeti ma'am. How are you?
How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Good to see you, even if it is virtually.
Really, it's been long since we visited your place. Yeah.
Yes.
It was very pleasant to see. Yeah, these
Yes.
days, like visiting physically, has really a restriction.
Yeah.
Good
This
afternoon,
is the
all.
best way, we can interact.
Absolutely.
Good afternoon,
to
Dr.
all.
Kore. This is
Good
Jayati from Shivnada School.
Oh,
So
Jayati,
good to see you.
already I said, just 5 minutes back, I saw you and I said, that good afternoon, Jayati.
Oh, I missed that because some connectivity issue.
Yeah. Jayati, I met
Very
you
good.
long back in Guwahati, probably. Yeah. Guwahati.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Upinder from Shah International, New
Okay,
Delhi.
most welcome.
Good afternoon, sir.
Most welcome.
Myself,
Good afternoon,
Monica Balani from Little Angels High School, Gwalior.
Oh, I spoke 2 minutes before, 5 minutes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anyway,
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
you can ask your friends to come tomorrow. Yeah,
Good afternoon.
Okay, sir.
Good
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Bala
Good
Reddy from
afternoon, Mrs.
Saudi.
Good afternoon, sir. This is
Welcome.
Abhishek Bajpayee from KDP, Gujarat.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good
This
afternoon.
is Vijesh from BPS Doha, Qatar.
DPS Doha, Qatar. Lovely,
Yeah,
lovely.
I'm busy.
Asna. Madam Asna is there, huh? Asna Nafis.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
From Yara International School, Saudi Arabia.
Oh, lovely, lovely. Most welcome.
Good
Most welcome from
afternoon,
Riyadh.
everybody. I am Mrs.
Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Yara
Ujjwal Arora
International School.
from Al-Fatih, India.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Very good.
Mrs.
Oh,
Kaushal.
Jayanti
Manoj
from
is there, huh?
Delhi.
Good afternoon, sir.
Bangalore.
That's good.
Jayanti Srivastava from Bangalore.
Yes, ma'am. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Good
sir.
afternoon. Good
I'm
afternoon.
Mrs. Kaushal
Thank you,
from
sir.
Mira Model School, Delhi.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Parminder Balla from Amritsar.
Amritsar. Oh, lovely. That's good.
Good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon, sir. Vandana from Bhopal.
Yeah, good. I
Good
think now
afternoon,
it's a-
sir.
it's a
Manisha
time-
Sharma from Udaipur, Rajasthan.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Khalid Hassan from Doha, Qatar, Birla Public School.
Oh, lovely. Bibla Public School.
from Hilton School.
Good
afternoon, sir.
This is Sundari from Delhi Public School.
Oh, welcome. Oh, Sayyid
Good
Zafar
afternoon,
Ali
sir.
Sahib.
This is Sangeeta Vik
Yeah.
from Meena Murli from Riyadh.
I'm
Riyadh.
from Abu Dhabi.
Riyadh.
I'm from
Yes.
Abu Dhabi, Dubai.
From Abu
Yeah,
Dhabi,
good
Dubai.
afternoon.
Most welcome, Sayyid Zafar Ali Sahib.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good
Mr.
afternoon.
Srivatsan from Chennai.
Oh,
Good afternoon.
Good.
Good afternoon, sir.
DPS Ranipur,
sir.
Haridwar.
Oh, Haridwar. That's good.
DPS
Yeah,
Ranipur.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Good
everyone.
afternoon.
This is Harpreet from Springdale Senior School, Amritsar.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. I'm Asi Anwari from Kuwait, from Indian
Oh,
Central
Kuwait.
School.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Most
yeah.
welcome.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good evening, sir. I'm Jyoti Sehgal from Springdale Senior School, Amritsar.
Amritsar. Okay, Springdale.
Good
Okay.
afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon,
This
ma'am.
is Paromita Vishwas from Global Indian International School, Abu Dhabi.
Oh, very, I mean, very scintillating atmosphere. Everybody is looking very happy. Really, it's great. It's great. Hi, my friend from South Africa, Ajay Bissasu has joined.
Good afternoon,
Good
Dr. Pari.
afternoon, Dr. Bissasu from University of KwaZulu Natal, South Africa, Durban. Welcome. He will be
Thank
speaking
you.
tomorrow.
Dr. Brajesh, good afternoon. Paminda here.
Just 2 minutes more, just after 2 minutes, Kaustubh will start the program. So we have 2 minutes with us for all these usual pleasantries. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tejasvi from BPS International, Delhi.
Hello, Tejasvi ma'am. Hello.
Sir, I'm C. Matthews from Indian Central School.
Yes, Pratindra Chopra from GPS RK-Puram.
Guru Sekharan. Gunasekharan. Oh, Gunasekharan. Yeah.
Everyone.
From Bahari?
Vimal Haswani from
Good
Vidya Mandir,
everyone.
This Gunasekharan, sir. Gunasekharan.
Sir, Madhuri from Valam Boys.
Oh, Vellum boys. Good. Yeah. That's good.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. This is
Sorry to bother you guys in the introduction session. It's time we start our session. We have got a full house, sir. So we are good to go. Over to you, Kaustubh and Brijesh, sir. Hello. Participants, please keep your mic muted throughout the time. There would be a QA session probably at the last. But throughout the webinar, please don't switch on your mics. Humble request for all the participants. Only speakers, please switch on your mic as well as your cameras once you start speaking. Thank you. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you.
Good evening, one and all. Myself, Kaustubh here, and we are now going to start the session for the Quantum Vault.
Yes.
Presents Quest for Questions, an international teacher development program. Today on 22nd of June, and this will go on up till 27th of June. Program has been supported by RACI, and I thank their CEO, Mr. Roger Stapleford, for his kind support, as well as by the Association of Chemistry Teachers, TIFR Mumbai, Dr. Brijesh Pare here with us as the president. And also we would like to thank Dr. D.V. Prabhu, who is the General Secretary, ACT. Okay, so let me give you a brief idea about Quantum Vault, since this is Quantum Vault's first program. Now, why we set up Quantum Vault? We have set up Quantum Vault in order to try and instill the 21st century skills in students. As you know, the 21st century skills, involve communication, a proper communication channel, then creativity skills, then the flexibility and the media and everything. So with Quantum Vault, we try and inculcate all these things in students. Secondly, to bring about effective teaching and learning tool for teachers and students. Third, the most important point is to help grow your appetite from how to why. From going from how to why. It's like how gives you an answer and why gives you the meaning of a thing. And not only we have to take you from how to why, we also have to satiate or quench your thirst for this why. We have to come with the right answers for all your right questions or even the wrong ones. So this is how we are going, and to make you think out of the box. So in this session, you'll see how we go about things and making all these possible. The Quantum Vaults initiative first we have is the Quest for Questions event. This is already going on. I'll give a detail more about it. The second we have launched is an Enviro quiz. We launched it on June 5th, this month only. And it was International Environment Day. And more you'll be getting to know about it. It's slated for December 2020. 1 or 2 more programs we are going to have this year, and probably in next 1 or 2 months you'll be connected with us. You'll be getting to know more information about all of such things. This is the poster for the Enviro quiz. It is for students of classes 3 to 10. Now coming to Quest for Questions event, I just tell you a small story. This Quest for Questions event has been a brainchild of mine since the year 2017. But then it wasn't possible because we were looking for, looking for your physical presence in an auditorium or somewhere like that, and we couldn't do it. So probably thanks to the current situation that we are able to, revisit this program of ours and launch it in a new way, and are able to, interact with you with this webinar pattern right now. The quest for question event is because we believe that questioning is an essential element of efficacious teaching. By efficacious, I mean that the intended meaning, the intended path of the study should reach the students. Second, it is a platform to learn and sharpen your question making skills. Now, all of you are teachers who have joined here with us. And I know it's like probably daily, if not daily, weekly or monthly, you'd be going through, a routine of designing questions. But how do we design certain type of problems? This is what we are going to see here. And also, you might have seen the likes of Sachin Tendulkar or Virat Kohli or Roger Federer, that even if you are good at one thing, you need to keep practicing it. You need to keep your tools sharpened so that whenever the chance comes, then you're able to, go all out. Third point is designing higher order thinking skills questions. This is not an innate skill. So what we mean by not an innate skill is that you can acquire this skill. This skill can be acquired. Okay. Some of us or some of you might have it innate, but even if you have it innate, then also it needs sharpening. Fourth point is developing questions that are scaffolded. That is, beginning from the recall and working up to analysis, synthesis, and creating requires careful planning. In planning, it could be the resources that you require. It could be the research papers that you might have to go through. It could be something new that you have to see, the language you have to work upon, the options that the question has that needs to be addressed. So all of these things come under such. As for Quest for Questions 2020 event, we received a total of 1,551 registrations, and we started registrations on June 10th this month. So in 11 days time, initially the program was designed for 1,000 participants, but the enthusiastic response that you all gave, tremendous response. So we extended it and now we did it up to 1,500. And then also I have received like 50, 60 mails since yesterday that we could not register. So maybe we'll have to see what we can do about them now. You'd be happy to know that the program has participants from 12 countries, namely India, Australia, Bahrain, Indonesia, Kuwait, Mongolia, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Singapore, South Africa, and United Arab Emirates. So it's a different mixture, a different gravy. You get to see what other people think. You get to see how other people work, how other boards work, how the education system in other countries work. As for the speakers, we have 6 speakers in all. 3 would be taking the session today and 3 would be taking the session tomorrow. They are from 4 different countries, as you might have seen. Now in the Quest for Question, we have a focus area, and the focus is peer-to-peer learning, because peer-to-peer learning is a 21st century concept that has, it's like fashion that we revisit certain things after a certain amount of time. So maybe in the time of Gurukuls, there was peer-to-peer learning, and maybe now it's the time that it comes back. And why we are focusing on peer-to-peer learning is that learning from peers has a synergistic kind of effect on an individual. Likewise, in mathematics, you all understand synergy. I do not need to go in detail about it, but as we know, so that is why the focus is on peer-to-peer learning. I'll just quickly let you know the flowchart of the event. Today and tomorrow we have the webinars, as I have said, 3 speakers slated for today, 3 speakers slated for tomorrow. Then the most important part of the program is 24th, 25th, and 26th June. Now you might be wondering why. Because once you hear these speakers, all 6 of them, by tomorrow evening, what you have to do is you have to contemplate on what has been said, what they have shared. Because in the end, what we expect is that each one of you comes out with 2 indigenous original questions of yours from topic of your choice. It's free. It should be science. So any question from any topic for any class you can come up with, whether you are taking that class, whether you are not taking that class, it doesn't matter. So 27th onwards, we'll open the links for submission of your questions. That would be 2 each. So 27th and 28th, you can submit your questions, and then the questions would be put up to the speakers and they'll evaluate it. The webinar speakers, as you might have seen, I'll repeat once again. Mrs. Jenny Sherwood, she's from Australia. Dr. Irman, he'll be speaking today. He's from Indonesia. Dr. Ajay Besasur, he has joined us today, but his session is tomorrow. He's from South Africa. Dr. VP Singh, he's from New Delhi, India. Dr. Amrit Krish Mitra, he's from Kolkata, India. And we have with us Dr. Brijesh Pare, who will be the first speaker today. I'll just give a few more details. We have the, so from today onwards, for next 1 week, we won't be calling you teachers. We would be calling you as question authors, because for us, you are a question author. And we have divided our question authors in 3 categories: topaz, sapphire, and emerald. So teachers or the question authors who would be writing questions for class 6th, 7th, 8th would be in the category topaz. Similarly for 9th and 10th in sapphire, and 11th and 12th for emerald. Now there would be prizes for all the winning question authors. Those would be selected by speakers based on the questions they submit. And the select questions from these, they would certainly feature in our maybe ANCQ or the Enviro quiz material, depending on what stream they fit into. And certainly the credit for that question duly would all be yours, with your name, with your school's name printed in. So this is all what I have. And any more questions, you can connect with me on the WhatsApp group or the email. I'll be available there. So anything, any query, if you have, we can very well go there. And now we'd start with our first speaker. We have Dr. Brijesh Pare with us. He is the professor and head of the Department of Chemistry, Madhav Science PG College, Ujjain. He is also the president of Association of Chemistry Teachers, India. Dr. Brijesh Pare has produced 20 PhDs and 70 research papers in esteemed journals. He did his postdoctoral fellowship from University of Durban, South Africa. He is also an affiliate member of the IUPAC 2012. The best part is that he has done over 100 science popularization workshops across India and abroad as well. So with this, I rest and I hand over it to Dr. Brijesh Pare to take the session further and be our first speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaustubh. Now, it's a pleasure listening to you, the introductory part of the things. And now I have to share. My, yeah, I can share it. Yeah, it is. I think, can you see? Just 1 minute. Yeah,
yes, sir, it's visible now.
Yeah.
Just put it on slideshow so that's easy.
I want to put it on slide. Is it okay?
Yes, sir, good to go.
Okay, I'm audible also. Fine. So, very good afternoon to all of you. It's really a great pleasure to see a group of such an enthusiastic facilitators now from science and particularly from chemistry. So today, as Kaustubh has spoken, that we are going to talk in the another 2 days, about the multiple choice questions, how to design those questions, what are the beauty, what is the power into it, and how they are so effective teaching, learning, assessment, apart from many other roles. So just I will go on that. And the first thing, when it comes to questioning, you might have seen our the poster, where we have given one sentence, one paragraph about Rabi, the Isidore Rabi, who is a Nobel laureate in 1944. So what the Rabi said, like any other child, when comes back from the school, and the mother, usually often ask, that what did you learn today in the school? So instead of that, Rabi's mother, instead of Rabi's mother used to ask that Easy, probably is this nickname, did you ask a good question today in the class? And Rabi says that difference in asking that did you ask a question made him a good scientist. A good scientist, he became even a Nobel laureate. So that is the power of asking a question. And can you recognize this gentleman? Yeah, probably we all know he's a Socrates, almost 2000 years back, a Greek philosopher. So whenever we talk about questioning, really it is really unfair not to talk and not to refer Socrates, because whole of his teaching was based on questioning. So Socrates spent most of his life asking deliberate and organized questions about people's belief and values, and then examining the same. Through questioning, Socrates encouraged his students to explore the prior belief held by those students, and subsequently to build a stronger and more scholarly views. See the beauty. What today we say about the Bloom's taxonomy, or what we talk about like the 21st century skills required, this fellow Socrates was he was practicing the same thing 2000 years back. So definitely whenever we talk about the questioning, we need to talk about Socrates. So what is the Socrates approach? So what we now refer to as Socrates approach involves posing a succession of systematic and pre-arranged questions designed to help students to reflect and therefore improve their thinking and gain a better understanding of their own beliefs and ideas. So that was the thing, reflection. When he was asking the question, he was giving a time for a reflection and thereby improving the whole thinking pattern and elevating it. So one very important thing for the instructor or for the teacher, an instructor using the Socratic approach is not looking for the specific correct answer, but is in fact inspiring students to reflect on their thinking. That is the beauty of the whole education and teaching and learning. Not only giving a simple question and asking something on the recall or remembrance basis, but the question should lead to the enhancement of the ability of the learning of students. That was the Socratic approach. This is probably all the teachers, I know they are all you. Most of you, I know, I have interacted. You are all excellently qualified teachers, and as far as the education is concerned, you might have all learned the Bloom's taxonomy. So that is, the cognitive layer, the thinking levels of the human, So the basis is the knowledge, then comprehension, then comes application, then comes analysis, then the synthesis of the things of the knowledge, and finally it was evaluation. That was given in 1956 by Bloom, and that was a very good finding. But just about 45, 50 years after, Krathwohl and his colleague, they came out with very similar kind of information, and instead of the noun, they use the verb form of the things. So instead of just I want to show you this. Yeah, this is this is the remember, then understanding, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. So here there was an exchange. In place of synthesis, it was brought in the evaluation to evaluate the things, and the creation was kept on the top of that. And that is really, if you understand it, that whenever we get so many of information, so we have to read it out, and we have to go from remembrance to understanding. If you know how to apply the information, how to analyze, and ultimately the creation of knowledge is the best kind of thing. And that requires a lot of training for the teachers as well as for the students. So I will not go into the much details of it because we have all the very good speakers in next 2 days, and they will definitely be touching all these kind of things, and that's wonderful. So let me just talk to you about the distinction in the cognitive process, that the learning process. The procedure of questioning leads to distinction in the cognitive process. When asked some recall kind of questions as opposed to the higher level questions, and that required student to analyze, synthesize, and evaluation. So certainly the higher level questioning, which requires student to analyze, synthesize the information, evaluate it, categorize it. So more learning takes place in that situation. And generally higher level questions do not have one correct answer, but encourage students to engage in critical thinking. That is the beauty of the whole thing. I mean, just by asking the questions. See, when we talk about questioning, it is two ways. The students, they also question teachers during the classroom. That also helps teachers to understand the depth of the student in that particular concept, or is there any kind of misconception is there? So that questioning from the student side is really very helpful. Probably, can you see, or it is gone? It is not. I can't see my things.
Sir, it's gone.
It's not visible. Again, I have to share.
Yes, sir. Please reshare it.
Yeah, it is over. It is now. It can see. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So what I was talking to, like when a student asks a question, that is something very good, and the teacher understands out of that. That is there any misconception, and with the depth of the understanding of the student. But when it comes to teachers to ask question, and for what purpose? For either for assessment and just to know that what is the level of, the understanding of the student for that particular concept. So it is really the teachers have to design quality questions which must be very much focused, and just they can give the correct information to the teacher and help in their teaching process. So what we were talking about, that is the higher level of what we call the HOTS question, the higher level thinking questions, where there is not only the one answer is correct, but more than one answer is correct. And see, when it comes to designing of these questions, really the teachers have to be trained for it. And it is really a kind of a creation which the trained teachers can do. It is not going. Again, there is a problem. You cannot start screen share. Sean, can you help me? Because my screen is not, it is not from this side only, from that side only. Yeah. Let me, yeah, again I have to share, yeah. But it is not going further. It is just got stuck. Yeah, it's going. Thank you. Just I'm giving in favor of the hot questions, some of the latest finding in 2008 and 2015 by researchers, by Lungi and Lewis, they found that the hot questions, the higher level questions, they are essential to student learning. And similarly, the Lewis has said the same thing. At this stage, when we are going further and further towards, about knowing how to design quality questions, what kind of things are there, what kind of precaution have to be taken. I wish to talk, although I know Dr. Irman is there from Indonesia, my friend, and he will be talking about the critical thinking. But critical thinking is really a thing of my choice. So I thought I will just speak to you about that. When we are using in our classroom teaching the questions, and questions for what? As a tool of assessment. At the same time, we can use those questions to impart a very good information to the students. And at the same time, we can inculcate interest in the learning of our subject. You may be a biology teacher, you may be a physics teacher, you may be a mathematics teacher, you may be a chemistry teacher. But the onus of popularizing our own subject rests with the with the teacher. So you can make use of quality questions, and with that you can impress students with your subject. So let me tell you about critical thinking. That is one of the most important objective of teaching learning in modern times. Gone are the days of rote learning. So critical thinking is intellectually disciplined process. It is a process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and evaluating the information. And from where this information was generated through observation, experience, reflection, reasoning, and communication. When an individual has so much of information from so many sources, and if he or she is capable of processing that information, I'm capable of analyzing it, synthesizing it to make it a meaningful outcome. That is the critical thinking. When I was working on critical thinking, so this was one of the definitions from Scriven in 1996. But I thought, I should share with you one or two more things regarding the critical thinking. Let us look at here. Critical thinking is the ability to think about one's thinking in such a way that to recognize its strengths and weaknesses, and as a result, to recast the thinking in improved form. See the beauty of the learning. To what level, we need to take our students, that they should be able to think about their own thinking. Okay, they have to be so much aware of that. What will happen with that? Their thinking definitely will come up. There it will come up, and they will just able to know about the strength and weakness. And the last definition, a very simple definition I just chose. Critical thinking means making reasoned judgment. Wonderful. Critical thinking means whatever information a student has or a teacher we have, and if you have to judge something, so you have to make a reasoned judgment. So everything, when it comes to reasoning and the logic, so your application, your analysis, your ability to synthesize, and up to the level of creation, everything comes into play. So that is something very good. Two more important information teachers really I wish to discuss with you regarding the questions. It is important to teach students how to ask good questions. That is really, see, in the case of Ravi, I don't know whether he learned by his own instinct or it was inherent to him, but this kind of thing can be taught. And for that, what you need to do, you need to teach him or her about how to think critically, how to question the beliefs and the information in order to continue the advancement of the very fields we are teaching. So they say that the advancement of your field, if you are teaching biology or mathematics or chemistry, that is possible when students, they think critically. And this particular two lines, every field stays alive only to the extent that fresh questions are generated and taken seriously. So I think with this particular lines now, it looks very befitting that we all have gathered here to deliberate upon, to think upon that really this is the responsibility of we teachers to take care of good questions, those who are coming from the students, and at the same time we have to together generate quality questions to just take our education to the real meaning. Okay, now the characteristics of critical thinking, so one of the important characteristics of critical thinking is questioning. What could be the thing, So the other three, I'm not reading at the moment, but we need to understand that one of the important characteristics of critical thinking is questioning. Okay, a lot of serious things has happened, when so many teachers, are here. So let us talk something about, do you know this lady? Angela Merkel. So teachers in Germany have the highest salary in the country. And when judges, doctors, and engineers asked the Chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel, for the same salary, you know what she said? She told them, how can I compare you to those who taught you? So this is the job of teacher, This is the highest kind of things we are doing. So we have to be very creative. Really, time has come. The rote learning kind of things, should really be discouraged, and we need to design good questions to impart a very quality education. Okay, now guidelines for constructing multiple choice question, as it was told by Kaustuv, that another 3-4 days, we expect all the teachers will contemplate very seriously upon designing of questions. And now you are a teacher author. Let me tell you, I had this privilege and opportunity to design multiple choice question number of times for various exams. It may be Olympiad exams, maybe the Australian chemistry quiz exams, and many other quizzes also. And really, I found that when we design one quality question, we really feel kind of a ownership on that. When you look at that question, you really feel that really you generated this question, which is altogether a new question, which really earlier did not exist. So that gives you a sensation, a kind of feeling, that you have really created something. So let me tell you very quickly that multiple choice questions, they're really most popular items for educational assessment. And in that, there is a STEM that presents a problem. Okay, that is the first thing. Some 4, 5, 6, 8 lines may be there, maybe some diagram may be there, maybe some kind of a table, the tabulated form of information is there. Then there are correct and best answer. If suppose you are doing something, a lower kind of question, lower I doesn't mean lower means where the cognitive level is required lower. So, and you want the students, to feel comfortable many times. If suppose, let me tell you that the Australian chemistry quiz has one of the objectives, and that is the first and foremost objective, is to inculcate interest of students in learning science. So if suppose you have 30 questions you have given in a quiz, do you think you can give them all the difficult questions, just harassing the students, horrifying questions? Will they be getting interested into your subject just by solving all those questions? No. So sometimes, you have to give them a certain amount of questions which are of the lower, where the most of the students can solve many of the questions. So that is also there. Then several distractors. These answers are, we call them distractors. Okay, I will just give you some examples. So there are 8 guidelines we are discussing, and the first is about the STEM. STEM means that paragraph which you write. The STEM should be meaningful by itself and should present a definite problem. Okay, that as a teacher we understand, that if suppose you are asking something, you should write a nice good STEM. You should not try to just fluctuate things, and those which really does not matter with your question should not. Hello, that should not come. Okay, so that was the first thing, that the STEM should be nicely written. Second point, the use of internal or beginning blanks in the completion type of multiple choice item should be avoided. I'm just giving an example. Suppose this is a question where you are giving, the blank, and you are asking the blank have the molecular formula CnH2n, and these are the 4 options. This should be avoided, and it should be given like that. Which type of organic substance has the molecular formula CnH? Why this should be done? Because one expert says that, in such a situation, what the student will do, he will try to retain the STEM. This is the STEM in short-term memory while completing the STEM with other options, and text anxiety will be there. So this should be avoided. Okay. Now, third, use a negatively stated STEM only when significant learning outcomes require it. Most of the times, the question should be asked not in a negative format. Like suppose this is a question which says, which of the following solutions is the least concentrated? Instead of that, the teacher may ask which of the following solution is the most concentrated, because in most of the times, this has been studied thoroughly, that when a positive question is asked, student finds it easier. But now the thing comes now, like if you suppose you want to trick the student, you want to make the things slightly difficult, you can make use of that also. Fourth, irrelevant difficulty should be avoided. The difficulty of the item, that means the whole thing, should not be increased by incorporating more complicated information in the stem than necessary. I'm giving one example. Let us see a very simple question. What volume of water should be added to 57.35 ml of 1.96 m NaCl in order to dilute it to 1.50 m? I mean, this question, if written like this, what volume of water in cubic centimeter ml should be added to 60 ml of 2 m NaCl in order to dilute it to 1.5? Just require N1 V1 is equal to N2 V2, and every time when you put in, I mean, these data, you will find the same answer. So there is no point making it difficult because of all these things. Okay. No, we are doing this. Sorry. Okay. Question number 5. I mean, point number 5. All distractors should be plausible. Plausible means should have some reason. Okay. And I will discuss some questions where I will let you know that this should not be done. Like there is a question, ordinary soft drinks like Coca-Cola have a pH about 1, 2, 3, 4. What is the answer? 3. I mean, C is the answer. Normally the pH of Coca-Cola is around 3. But they say the question should be like this. The ordinary soft drinks like Coca-Cola have a pH about 3, 5, 6, 8. Why? Why they should be done like that? Instead, because see, 3 is there, 3 is here only, 3 is here also. The correct answer is both the sides. The reason is that, please listen, that sometimes, in MCQ, you can make use of the misconceptions of students. See, in this particular case, there is a general misconception of student that the potable drinking material, that is drinkable, should have a pH around 7. That is the misconception. And here, the 7 has to be included. Therefore, included means 7 is not there. But when you put 3, 5, 6, 8, so that 7 comes somewhere in between. So that you can make use of that. So try to understand. Question number 6, point 6, avoid the use of complex multiple choice format. If suppose there is a question, which of the following chemicals are contained in the town gas, hydrogen, sulfur, or you are writing A, 3 only, 1 and 2 only, 2 and 4 only, 1, 3, 4. No, rather you should ask direct. What is the major constituent of the town gas in Hong Kong or anywhere like that? 7, the relative length of the option should not provide a clue to the answer. There is a very important finding by Rodriguez, teachers are mostly unaware of this particular item writing principle, this one, which one? 7.1. It is common to express the correct response more carefully and at a greater length than the distractor. You're getting my point? So when, as a teacher, when we design the options of a multiple choice question, so if we know that the C is the correct answer, so what we do, we write it in a I mean, it's a greater length and more explanatory. And what happens? The student is very smart, no? And when he just attempt that question, and this is the research in 1964 by Chase, they says that the most of the options the chosen by students, that is the longer one, the longer option. So I hope that we should take care of it. Okay, this is here, the question like, the zinc is more reactive than iron. See, 1.5 line, and here only the same thing is written in an equal length. So when you are giving the options, when the distractors are written, be careful about it. 8, avoid using none of the above and all of the above. This is why it is done. See the question. Which of the following substance would relight a glowing splint? Which one? Carbon dioxide, chlorine, nitrogen, none of the above. And what is wrong with this? What is wrong with this? See, this particular question does not have oxygen. Oxygen is the correct answer. Okay. So if suppose the student just by fluke mark this none of the above, so what will happen? He doesn't know that oxygen is the gas which can relight a glowing splint. Without knowing this particular aspect, he would just get a mark out of that. So that is not a correct teaching pattern. But here you see which of the following substance would relight a glowing. Oxygen is there, so that is the correct way. So I'm so happy with this. Now I want to discuss some of the questions which we have designed. So very quickly I will go, my dear friends. Whenever you have to design a question, so in the first step is to conceive an idea or a concept, and then you have to craft and design a question. It really takes a very long and circuitous way to go up to the level of designing a final meticulous question. And for that, what you need to have? First thing is the idea, the concept, and then the exhaustive, authentic literature. You can get it from Wikipedia, from your library. You have to weed out the whole matter. A lot of churning goes on, and you have to take into account that you want to inculcate the interest of the students also, and just to get to conceive the idea or a concept, look around you, and you will find so many things are happening, so many applications are there from chemistry, physics, biology, astronomy, geology, this and that. And from that application, you pick one thing, and from there, you try to using the literature, just find out the science behind it, then prepare a stem, prepare then destructors, and then follow rules. Okay, I have around 10 minutes to go. So I will just discuss some of the questions which I designed. Okay, so I want to share my experience. Although you all very experienced people, it is on ozone. Okay, so how the question goes? Please you can read it now. Okay, ozone is a form of oxygen with the formula O3. So here you are giving information to a student, maybe a younger student, class 7th, 8th, 9th, maybe. It is a dangerous and powerful oxidizing agent, which is very toxic to animals, and at very low concentration can greatly reduce the rate of photosynthesis in plants. How dangerous it is? Ozone. It is dangerous to animals, it is toxic to animals, it is problem for the plants. Okay. Ozone is used to kill bacteria in water supplies. This is the advantage. You can use of it, for cleaning the water, and sewage also. Ozone is also a contributor to photochemical smog. That is, fog, and that. So that is not a good thing. When it creates smog, that means it is creating pollution. But so many applications are being given to the students. Now, even though ozone is a damaging substance, since the mid-1980s, there has been a concerted effort by the majority of the world's developed countries to reduce the size of the ozone hole in the upper atmosphere. So this is the stem. This is the stem of the question. Now, how the question comes, that is in yellow. The reason for the concern is that the ozone hole will allow, the four options are given, just see. A, the Earth's air to escape into space. What is the question? The reason for the concern is that the ozone hole will allow the Earth's air to escape into space. B, too much of the Earth's heat to escape into space. C, more ultraviolet radiation to reach the Earth's surface. And D, more carbon dioxide to form in the Earth's atmosphere, leading to an enhanced greenhouse effect. Now, let us discuss these options. I want to discuss. And particularly in this question, as we know, and you all know about it, that C is the correct answer. But let me see, although you are the problem with similar in the webinar, I want that you should be able to interact. And when we do the workshops physically, this is the time where all the teachers just, they come up with their own ideas, their own answers, and then we respond. Then we respond and we discuss together and come out with some fantastic thing. Anyway, so A, that is the Earth's air to escape into space. Had this happened, because of the ozone layer, because of the ozone hole, That would have been a wonderful thing because Earth's air cannot go up. B, too much of the Earth's heat. Skip, that is also good. If the heat goes up, that is fine. C is the correct answer. Can anybody tell me that this particular stem is sufficient to help student to arrive at this answer C? Ultraviolet radiation, because nowhere it has been said, at least this question should have contained this particular information. The visible light we receive from sun is often associated with around 4 to 5% of extremely harmful ultraviolet radiations. If this was told in this stem, then really it would have been nice to reply C as the correct answer. So I find in this question that there are so many information given. They are good information. All the very important applications have been incorporated into the stem. Okay, and even sometimes through the distractors, through these ABCD, we call the options, you can give good information to the students. But anyway, this particular question was lacking this information. So this has to be there. I have designed one question. This is a question which is under preparation. I hope the teachers, those who are taking, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th classes, they will be happy with that. This my sharing is not there.
Sir, your screen sharing has stopped. Professor VK Singh, can you please stop sharing your screen, sir?
Yeah, just wait. Yeah, it is not coming, but anyway, let me check.
Sir, it would
Yeah,
come
it is
now.
coming. It is
You can
coming.
Go ahead and share it.
Okay, thank
we
you.
can see. Yeah.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, this is a question under preparation. I have done myself. This is my own. I would say. Most people think of migration.
Sir, screen is not seen. Screen is not seen, sir.
But we cannot.
Yes, sir. It's not coming.
Sean,
Screen
please
is
help
not
me.
coming.
No, sir, please
coming
share,
now?
share your screen, sir. You would be able to do it.
Sir, we cannot see your screen.
Let me share. I will share again. Don't worry.
Screen is not seeing, sir.
No, I will do. It will be seen now. It will be seen. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Participants,
sir.
please go on.
Thank you. Okay. Most people think of migration as the seasonal movement of a flock of birds between their breeding and non-breeding sites. In fact, bird migration is probably the biological phenomenon that has attracted the most interest among non-scientists and is one of the longest traditions of scientific investigations in biology. That is what the Berthelot report. However, there are many other forms of animal migration, including journeys between east and west, complex round trips involving land and ocean, altitudinal journeys up and down mountains, and vertical movements through the water column of oceans and lakes. This is what is so many kinds of movements are taking place. Okay, so this is the information through the stem we have given. Now see the question. What sets migration apart from other forms of movements in that migration typically involves? Is that, should I read it out again? What sets migration apart from other forms of movements is that migration typically involves? There are so many kinds of movements. Migration is also a movement. How it is different? So I have given these 4 options. 1, why there is a migration? Because the birds want to travel from one type of habitat to the same habitat. B, traveling from one type of habitat to another. C, traveling from one habitat to another for reducing their weight. And D, traveling from one type of habitat to another for tourism. So, I mean, this question, it needs to be contemplated because C and D, they are not the plausible answer which I discussed. I mean, any student will just reject these 2 because the birds, they do not go for tourism, they don't want to reduce their weight. Okay, because one important thing, when they go for migration, they eat lot of fats, and they just they put on a lot of weight, so that is a fuel for them, and then they go for thousands of miles, they just go away, using that. Anyway, traveling from one type of habitat to another. See, now traveling from one type of habitat to the same habitat, that is the foolish thing. When you are in one type of habitat, why the birds or anybody would like to go to the same habitat? So B is the correct answer. What I wish to say with this, that it is not the stem or the concept or the idea, you can start with that, designing a question. But when it comes to designing of the distractors, using the same form of the stem, you can make question of different levels. If you have to have a hot level question, you can make it a hot. But if you want to make it a simple for lower class student, that is all you have to focus for which you are designing. So that can also be done. So this is not a very complete kind of a question, but I'm working on it, and just it is good for learning. I have just one. How many questions I can? How many? What time is left for me? Kaustubh, can I take 5 minutes more?
Yeah, you can have 5 minutes.
So 5 minutes only. Okay. So let us look at here this side. One very good question is there. Teachers see the British chemists in 18th century were very interested in the properties and composition of air. In 1754, Joseph Blake identified what he called fixed air. Now we call it a carbon dioxide because it could be fixed in the solids. See, the stem is giving the information, at the same time explaining also that why this particular gas which Black found was called fixed air, because it could have been fixed. That was the point. 1766, Cavendish produced flammable air, a gas which Lavoisier later called hydrogen. Then after few years, 1772, it was Rutherford, but it was not the same Rutherford we used to know about the atomic structure. He found a noxious air, phlogisticated air, and named because it asphyxiated mice placed in it, and that is nitrogen. And that was a time, the phlogistication theory was there. Everybody, even up to the Lavoisier was of the view, the Priestley was of the view that there is a phlogiston in the flammable material, and when it burns, that material comes out. So anyway, it was because of the Priestley and because of the Lavoisier that the theory was, ruled out. Then 1774, the whole discovery, that is the discovery of oxygen. Although Priestley did not call it oxygen, he called that dephlogisticated air. Nobody was calling in those days even gases. The gas was not there. They call air, fixed air, flammable air, phlogisticated air, and dephlogisticated air. So, but it was a very, very important discovery by Priestley, and then he went to France and he made their Lavoisier, and Lavoisier then said, okay, that was a chemical revolution, and together they declared that the burning is because of this Priestley's gas, which they named oxygen. Anyway, so now see, after so much of good information, see the question. Which of the following pairs of the chemicals react to form water? Let us see. Flammable air and fixed air and noxious air, flammable air and dephlogisticated air, and noxious air and dephlogisticated. This is very simple, but the student has to apply a lot of logic, some kind of analysis on that also. Not of much synthesis is required, but analytical. Only from here he will take the information, he will say where there is hydrogen and where there is oxygen. So dephlogisticated and hydrogen. When these two combine, it will give water. It's a very good question. Oh, yeah, I'm just finishing one question. What do you want to say? So ask the questions. Okay. So we can reply it later. Yeah, we can reply. We can. Yeah. The questions which are being asked, definitely I will take care of those and I will respond it. But maybe after this session or maybe tomorrow I will do that. Thank you very much for your patience hearing. And see, there may be a question like this. Let us see how beautiful question. It is not every time, writing a stem. Let us see a beautiful, simple pictorial form. What is there? Let us see. It has been suggested that the global warming is being caused by too much of carbon dioxide in air. Now a straightforward one sentence information to the student that the global warming is because of carbon dioxide. CO2 goes in and out of the air naturally. See the phenomena. It's not like that the CO2 once come into the atmosphere, it will remain there. No, it is coming in, it is going out naturally. But in recent years, it has been going into the air faster than natural process can take it out. So there is a imbalance. Okay, there is an imbalance. Limestone, it is not given, but we know calcium carbonate is a common rock that holds a large amount of carbon dioxide. You see, these are just the examples, just by looking at this concept, you can make a much better question than this. Probably this is a question for a relatively younger student. See here, this is the lane containing limestone. From here, the breakdown of limestone leads to carbon dioxide. Fuels burning, the exhaust fuel these days, lot of traffic, just giving carbon dioxide. Respiration and decay, giving carbon dioxide. This is the sign of the arrow. This is the direction. And here, the plants use carbon dioxide. Look at here. This is the water. What is happening? This carbon dioxide is dissolved in water. Here the limestone may form, and here the plants use carbon dioxide. Okay, so plant using carbon dioxide going this side and this side both. Now we are asking to the students of the process shown in the diagram, which one has contributed most to the increase of carbon dioxide in the air. Now the student will really thoroughly focus on this picture. He might not have read this information earlier, but he will learn everything from here only, from this picture and from this question. And then he will just check and he will reply that who is just spoiling the balance. That is probably the more fuels being burnt this way. Okay. Okay. And I think the last question, my time is fine. Just 1 minute. Some around 5-6 years back, previously, I came to know, even myself was not knowing 70 years back, that the airbags used in the car, they have something to do with the chemistry. One day, I came to know that there is a chemistry in airbags, So I thought, what chemistry is there? So when I went through the literature, I found that there is a compound, sodium azide, which is decomposed in the airbag. And when it is decomposed, it gives nitrogen, and the airbag gets inflated, and it saves the life of the driver and other passengers also when any accident takes place. When I studied it, I found this chemistry is really very tedious. It is not that important, because when so much of nitrogen comes out, how to balance the nitrogen. So I found, the potassium nitrate should be added into it. So when the potassium nitrate is added, and some silica is also added, so this chemistry is given, reaction 1, reaction 2, and reaction 3. So this chemistry is given, and on the basis of that, then we design 2-3 questions, and those questions are really very popular. Like here, and so anyway, that is what I was telling you, that how you conceive the idea, how you get the idea from your just very surrounding, and go to the literature, collect all the authentic things, just design a stem, and out of that, then try to design distractors and quality questions. So I think I should, this is the time to say you guys thank you. And it is a time for me, at least, to take a cup of tea. So my wife is along with me.
I have a question.
Yeah. And thank you very much. Yeah, someone is asking question just for 2 minutes. Yeah, please.
Yes. Just
thank you very much.
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah, I will take a question, madam. I can ready to respond. Please ask me. How many?
Okay, sir.
Kaustup, 1 or 2 questions we can have, and then the next speaker.
Just one we'll have, and then we'll move.
Okay, shall I go further?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you have to frame a question for class 12 child, I don't think we need to give them information, prior information. We are testing their knowledge, so they ought to know it. So I think the stem should not be that long.
Yeah, this is, see, let me tell you, to class 12 student also, madam, we have to teach them, they have not come with all the knowledge, no? Even see, in Indian system, which is really, really very tough, And right from class 11th, why to class 12th? You come to the class 11th when they choose science or chemistry and physics and mathematics, So they have to read a lot of things, But they have to read, and you are a teacher, I am a teacher. We have to teach them. When after 12th, he will be going for writing the, from where he will get the information, let me say. And why to put them into trouble for all the times? That is my personal view, See, they have to study. See, in learning and teaching, we have to go from simple to complex. This is the rule.
Right.
Right from the day one, you cannot teach the highest level of your things. You go from simple to complex.
Yeah, simple to
complex. That is the learning process. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
No, I'm very happy with that, but that is my point of view always. I know, because I know the system very well. And
you are aware of the system. You know
I have.
about the
I think Brijesh must be
Yeah.
talking in the perspective of the entrance exams that is taking place.
That
So-
is there.
Right. I'm
Entrance
talking about
exams
that.
are they are very much
Yes.
there, but for entrance exams also the learning process, it is gradual. It takes time. Nobody learns in a day or two. Okay, when you teach thermodynamics or chemical kinetics kind of thing, I'm talking in terms of chemistry. I'm a chemistry professor, so even at class 11,
I'm also a chemistry teacher.
Madam, nice to know. See, what we do, we give them very simple examples. We tell them what is the rate of the reaction, what is this, and then we go to the higher level where at the class 12th, they have to do all the IIT preparation and all the difficult questions. So anyway, but somehow they have to go from simpler side also. No?
May I
Anyway,
add
thank you very
something
much.
here?
Thank you.
May I
Now-
add something here?
Madam, you write it. I will reply it. Madam. Time is running out, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Also, please invite VP Singh, sir.
Next up, we have Dr. VP Singh with us. He is a PhD in chemistry and a PhD in education as well. He is a professor of science and head of the division of the educational kids. He works at the National Education Research, NCRT, New Delhi. He also happens to be the Vice President of Association of Chemistry Teachers. Dr. VP Singh is a renowned science educator and has done talks across the country. Let us welcome Dr. VP Singh as our next speaker.
Hello. नहीं होंगे ना क्या बोल रहे हाँ इरमान को कर दो बुला लो इरमान डॉक्टर इरमान कर दो डॉक्टर
I guess Dr. VK Singh is facing some issues joining in. We'll try and reach out to him as soon as possible. Just hold on for a minute, guys. Thank you for your patience.
Dr. Irman is right there with us.
Okay, so we have Dr. He's a professor of science education and head of the natural science department under the science education department from campus UNESA, Ketintang, Surabaya, Indonesia. And he's an excellent researcher in the field of chemical education. So now I would head over the proceedings to Dr. Irman with his presentation. Thank you. Please continue, sir.
Thank you very much for thanks and great to the Honorable Professor Dr. Brijesh, my friend, for the invitation and the opportunity given to me to participate in this webinar. I also say hello and greeting to all the speakers, Ms. Jenny Saward from Aussie, Dr. Ajay Bisesur from Durban, South Africa, and Professor Dr. Vijay Housing from New Delhi, India, and Dr. Amrit Krishna Mitra from Singapore, Kolkata. And greeting to all participants, and I don't forget to say thanks very much for Mr. Kostubit, who have participated, who has given me the vacancy to convey the presentation in this webinar. Okay, in this time, we are going to discuss about designing a quality question as an effective teaching tool to promote students' high-order thinking skills in classroom. From this title, I highlighted the 3 keywords. That is the quality questions, high order thinking skills, and an effective teaching skills. The three keywords so that to promote high order thinking skills, all starting from the quality question, as Mr. Bridges has just presented about the high order thinking skills. But we have already now that asking question actually is the human nature, including students, that all people has a curiosity to respond to their surrounding environment that is manifested. So the higher the quality of the question asked, the higher the quality of knowledge students want to know or to construct. And questioning is the manifested of the ability to think. But we have to answer that. Asking question is not developed automatically. So in this case, teachers in helping students to ask questions and to think at a high level is essential in classroom. Let's just to look back.
Sean's screen is not visible.
Oh yes.
Sir has not started sharing it. Sir, can you please share it?
Okay, thank you.
Sir, please share.
Okay. This is the cognitive process level that Mr. Bridges have presented to. That in this we consider from the Bloom taxonomy. Jadi we consider from the Bloom taxonomy. There are many interpretations about the high order thinking skill. For example, critical thinking ability, scientific thinking ability, even abstract thinking ability. But this is then that most useful in learning is the Bloom taxonomy, which describes the levels of cognitive processes from remembering to creative cognitive level. In this cognitive process level, we divide it into 2 categories. The first is the high order thinking skill. Other thinking skill is starting from analysis C4, C5.
Excuse me, sir. Please share the screen.
Hello.
Sir, can you share the screen? We are unable to see your screen.
The screen
Please
is
share
not,
your screen.
it's not apparent to
No,
everyone.
no, it's not clear. You are not sharing the screen.
Oh, okay.
Sean will do it. Just wait, sir. Sean will share it for you. Yeah, he will help you. Don't worry.
Okay. Thank you.
Just for a minute on. He will doing. He's doing. Thank you for your patience and cooperation. Some internet glitches are there.
Yeah, that is there.
Yeah, but the Sean is helping. Sean is helping, sir. Thank you.
Okay. High order thinking ability has many interpretations. Some consider it as critical thinking ability, scientific thinking ability, and even abstract thinking ability. But in our discussion at this time, we limit to Bloom's taxonomy, which describe the levels of cognitive process from remembering, understanding, application, analysis, evaluation, and creative. In this cognitive process level, many people divided into two categories. The first category is low order thinking skill, that starting from remembering, understanding, and application. And high order thinking skill, starting from analysis, evaluation, and creative. Based on the cognitive process level, the quality of question is divided into 4 categories too. The first is memorize. We know as Q1, Q1, but is sometimes is neglected. And understand, Q2, application for Q3, for C3, and the high order thinking skill is known as Q4. That is consists of prediction, analysis, evaluation.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Clear?
Dr. Herman, now it is very nicely written. You please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. The cognitive process is divided into categories, okay? All of this level are actually important to learning science, including chemistry. So sometimes we neglected the low order thinking skill, but it is important to attain the high order thinking skills, because the critical thinking as well. For example, someone can be critical thinking if they understand well all knowledge that related the object or related the problem, and that it can be used to high order thinking skills. Although asking question is the human nature, someone will ask question if there is something that interesting. If something is interesting, so not innate, something interesting, and maybe need to know, and discrepant even. So in this process, teachers should pay attention more to how to foster students to ask quality questions. Knowledge appropriate is their experience and thinking capacity. Need to know it sometimes something interesting object or event, something that is relevant to their experience is the most interesting to student. And how student need to know that is something needed is relevant to their experience, but not concerned to the question, not concerned to ask question, and something according to his thinking ability. Or maybe they received a question from the teacher. So the question from teacher should be provoke student to ask question too. And the last is discrepant event. In discrepant event,
students face new situation or new challenge. So we have to provide a new situation or a new challenge to student. That is can stimulate student to ask question. Fact is different from student expectation, or student face dilemma or uncertainty situation. This is the discrepant event that most provoke student to ask question. This is some interesting events. Maybe we can see household cleans, water pollution, baking soda, make foods rise, and to ignite fire requires a certain temperature for activation energy. In many cases, activation energy is taught theoretically that not connected to everyday experience. Therefore, the nature of facts, situation, or problem and question to foster higher order thinking skill, e.g., for example, the starting point is not clear, the starter point is not clear, or unclear causes that led students to find out, including doing experiments, which involve many variables that must be mastered, contain more than one variables that must be mastered to be manipulated. Students who should manipulate one or two variables and contain no more than one solution that require cognitive ability C4 to C6 level. Therefore, let us consider some example question below. This is the 3 example question. The question number 1, it is enough difficult to answer, but only requires a calculation to get one correct answer. So it can be categorized as an closed questions. A sample of methane, sometimes referred to as swamp gas, is found to contain 12 grams of carbon.
I can't see your screen.
Okay.
Thank you.
If a second sample of methane is found to contain 30 grams of carbon, how many grams of hydrogen does it contain? This is difficult question, but not foster to high order thinking skills, because there is contain only one answer. And the second question, what is the minimum concentration of Ag plus ion needed to precipitate AgCl? Argentium chloride and natrium chloride. This is maybe an investigative question, but contain only one answer. That is the difference with the question number 3. Involves many more than one variables that must be mastered and manipulated. Must be mastered and manipulated. What should be done so that the tools iron at home is not easy to rust? That is the question that led to students to high order to use their higher order thinking skills. It is the investigative question and open to students. Because this is the other question. We can consider here that question number 1 is requires only one answer. But the question number 2, what should be done to increase the solubility of magnesium hydroxide in water? This is the question that contain more than one answer. So if you choose which question that can be used to promote student thinking, cognitive student thinking, high order thinking skills, is the question number 2. In many cases, especially in Indonesia maybe, teacher asking question is just to get a correct answer. In many cases, teachers asking question is just to get a correct answer. Unfortunately, most students commonly don't believe, don't answer about their answer, that their answer is the correct answer. And some teachers asking questions to their students is just to foster student thinking processes. However, it's just to repeat teacher's idea and it's not to create their own ideas. So teacher can foster student thinking processes. And the most popular in Indonesia as well, maybe, teacher asking question is just to train student to do practice. To do practice or to solve many chemical question or many chemical problem. As we can categorize is and procedural knowledge because it's just train student how to solve the problem. Now, in classroom, who asking question? In order to foster students to ask high quality question and to use their high order thinking skills. As an effective teaching tool and to promote student high order thinking skills, students should be trained to ask questions. Students should train to ask questions. This can be performed during learning.
Excuse me, Dr. Irman. See, I'm just telling, like, because the Sean is operating, your slides. So whenever you go for the next, you ask him for next. So there will be a synchronization, please. It's going on very well. It's going on very well only because he is doing it for you. You can hear me? Sir, you can hear me, sir? Hello?
Sir, I guess there's some bandwidth issue with Dr. Irman.
Yeah. So I was requesting Arman's. Okay, let me call him.
Yes, sir. That would be, yeah, that would do.
Because you are doing for him, no? So, and there is some problem with the
bandwidth. Yeah, I could see this on my platform that there's some bandwidth issues with him.
No, but anyway, I'm just trying. I'm trying.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Yeah, it looks some internet speed issue maybe there, maybe like. Yeah. Don't worry. But it is happening, and only you just tell that Sean, who is operating for you the slides. So
Sir,
every time
he's
you have to
not
tell
in
me.
the meeting room anymore.
Okay.
Dr. Irman is out of the Zoom.
So
meeting.
you are in the room only, na, meeting room. Just stay there. But just stay connected. Stay connected. No problem, sir. No. Yeah. Okay. No, just try. Okay, sir. We are waiting. Don't worry. Yeah. Thank you. Made connection. I've spoken to him. He's trying to connect.
Hello, Vijay sir, good afternoon. Myself Purnima. We can get this video recording one. We can get. Hello.
Do you need the PPT or the actual recording or the video recording of the conference?
So PPT, so Dr. Pari
Yeah, you can drop a mail to Dr. Brajesh Pare if you need the PPTs. He'll share if required.
Can we get the copies of the PPT?
Yeah,
Please,
just drop a mail. Just drop a mail to Kaustubh or Dr. Pare. They'll do the
Okay, sir.
needful.
Definitely. Thank you, sir. Okay, okay. Thank you.
Sir, can the PPT be shared in the WhatsApp group that we all are in?
Sir, please mute your speaker. Vijay sir, please mute your speaker.
Yeah, unmute. Yeah. So Professor VP Singh has come. So should we request Dr. VP Singh to start because Arman probably not getting the connection. What to do? Sean, what to do?
Sir, probably we have to wait for a while. And you're absolutely correct. Probably Professor VK Singh should go ahead and start.
So we should wait for a few minutes with the request from all the teacher participants. There is some connectivity problem. Dr. Arman is trying. I spoke to. Should we wait for a few minutes?
Sir, please share your PPT. I want your PPT, sir. It is very effective. So
No,
please,
it will be there. Everything, madam, everything will be for you only, for us only. We together, no problem. There is no difference. I'm asking that should we wait for just few minutes?
Sir, we should wait. We
For
should
Dr.
wait, sir.
Arman? Yeah, okay. I spoke to him. He's trying. He's trying. I spoke to him. These are the things, which are not in our hands. That is sometimes really.
These are the challenges of online webinars.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
And we face it the most. We in Kashmir face it the most. I'm running it on 2G.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, that's true. Yeah. I mean, we have to go online also. You have to take online classes also.
Yeah, we have to
you
take
have to be
online
very
classes
effective
also.
also. We have to be, very impressive. Everything you have to be there, but at the cost of, like the internet quality.
Sir, am I audible?
You are audible, sir. You are audible. Yes, sir.
Sir, what about my presentation? Is it
Just
ready
1
for
minute.
presentation?
See, Dr. Arman was doing it from Indonesia.
I'm just asking.
And there is some internet issue was there. He is trying to get connected again. Let us see. Otherwise, sir, you are very much there. Thank you. And you have to start otherwise.
No problem. But I'm just asking, sir. The PPT which I had sent you, I emailed to you yesterday, no?
It is there with Sean. Sean.
Okay, she will roll
Sean,
it out.
please keep ready the presentation of Dr. VP Singh, please.
Sure.
So nice of you. Thank you.
No problem. No problem.
Okay.
Okay, Arman is
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
I just try to get.
Sean, please take care. Dr. Arman has come back. Okay, start, Dr. Arman.
Sir, please unmute your mic and then you can start. And just let me know which slide to start with.
Dr. Arman, you cannot hear you. Unmute yourself. Unmute. You are not audible.
Okay. Thank you.
Now you are audible.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. In classroom, who asking question? The most important is to train the student to ask question. In commonly, teacher ask question. And this is during learning, students should ask question. To ask questions, teachers should use the strategy, the student-centered learning. Student-centered learning, for example, inquiry-based learning, discovery, group investigation, or problem-based learning that led the student to conducting an experiment or observation. From this experiment or observation, student can find new knowledge and can construct the new knowledge and to solve the problem that is coincide with the competencies. But in the second question is from the teacher. In many cases, teacher asks the question is just to evaluation and diagnostic tools. The evaluation of student learning outcomes or achievement, and that is can be a cognitive skills or attitude. But sometimes teacher ask question is just to diagnostic tools. For example, learning difficulties, misconception, and preconception. And the most crucial is how to facilitate students to ask questions. The teacher determines the competencies the student will achieve after learning. The teacher determines, the first is teacher should determine the competencies the student will achieve after learning. In Indonesian case, curriculum is top down. Curriculum is curriculum development is top down. So the teacher should master the competencies that student will achieve after learning. And the teacher determines indicators of the competencies of each competencies. The teacher determines the strategy for achieving competencies, especially student-centered learning. And the most important thing is teacher present the object of observation. This is the crucial and essential in classroom that to foster student to ask questions. Because object of observation that can be orient student to the problem that the answer should be matched to the competencies or indicator. This is the difficult thing. In Indonesian, many teachers it's difficult to facilitate student an object of observation. And then, based on the observation, teachers should encourage the student to ask questions based on the result of their observation. If when the student is still difficult to ask question, the teacher should scaffold the student by showing the focus of observation. This is the difficult thing because many teachers cannot master what is the focus of the observation. What students should observe from the observation object observation. For example, let's analysis solution properties, competence analysis solution properties, knowledge is electrolyte and non-electrolyte solution, skill is scientific thinking skills, indicator, student can explain the electricity of solution. Now, student will observe. Student will observe the three lamps. The three lamps through demonstration or figure. The three lamps arranged in a solution strong electrolytes, weak electrolytes, and non-electrolytes. Student will see light 3 is light up. Light 2 is light dim, and light 1 is not light. The difference in the flame light teaches student to ask simple question. Why the lamp 3 bright? Lamp 2 is dim and lamp 1 is not lit. This question should not be answered by the teacher, but students are given the opportunity to carry out investigation ranging from the electrical circuit connection to the source of electrical energy through experiment. Let's And to facilitate students, teachers who use student-centered strategies, teachers should be able to use student-centered strategies in classroom, because the student-centered strategies will engage students to be actively active learners. Teachers who are able to operate high-level thinking skills, including scientific thinking skills. This is the most crucial. Sometimes in Indonesia, we meet students who difficult to perform their scientific thinking skills, and teachers who involve high-order thinking skills in classroom. Now, how to design question as an evaluation tool. This is the turn for teacher to ask question. Teacher should analyze curriculum. Should that analyze curriculum to address the competencies, and then designing indicators of the competence. Students should master the competence, because teachers should create indicators to perform the competence in the classroom, and then designing question for each indicator. Student should designing the question for each indicator, and question can be in the form multiple choice or essay. Point 1 to point 3 must be in line. This and integrated, that should be in line and coherence, and then teachers should determine question quality that can be valid. Question must be valid, reliable, and should address the difficult index, and should distinguishing power. Let's now see the example. Indicator 5. Indicator 5 is the cognitive level C5. The question level is key 4. And indicator 3, the cognitive level is C3, and the question level is key 3. Oh, dikendalikan ini, makanya kok susah saya. Ini. Nah, because of difficult to create the high quality question, some template, maybe this is available, hot question template analysis. For example, look at the table, graph, diagram, picture, make an analysis of. This is the template of analysis. What causes, classify based on, draw a diagram for, what is the meaning of the symbol, and inference, maybe make a hypothesis. What will happen if, predict what will happen if. This is the inference template. Based on the information you get, what can you predict? What can you conclude? And for analysis, look at the table. Okay, next. Evaluation. The template can be has the experiment about being carried out correctly, what the decision should be taken and why. This is some template of evaluation. And the template of creation, create an experimental design, what must be done to prevent, and what is the best way to prevent, what should be done to solve the problem. This is some template for creation. So if you want to design a question, please refer to the question template to make you easier to designing question. Okay, next. Okay, please pay attention to the question key 2. Key 2 is referred to understanding. Indicators to then understand ions or uncharged substances. Problems. This is problem like that. The question might are also Q2 level. Indicator 3 with cognitive level C3. This question is only to distinguish ionic and non-ionic, but students should understand that the ion is involved in a nerve impulse, not others. Okay, next. Next.
It's going on well.
The question is how much oxygen? The next question. Question. Okay. Unmute. Question Q3. Indicator student can apply the law of conservation of mass. Namely, applying the law of conservation of mass. To answer this question, student must have understood the law of conservation of mass. The question is how much oxygen reacted with the magnesium. To answer this question, student should apply the law of conservation of mass. This is the medium question. The medium question or the question key 3. Okay, next. And next, the question key 4. This is in the form essay form. Indicator. Student can explain ways to prevent corrosion in metal tools. You can see now the picture, the figure here, the picture after and before corrosion, before the rust. The problem or question in the figure 1, it appears that equipment made mainly of iron is very easy to rust, so it becomes damaged and cannot be used. What should you do to prevent the metal tools iron from rusting easily? This is an open question and contain more than one answer. That student, maybe one answer is the correct answer for any places, but not for other places. Okay, next. This is the example of key 4 question that stimulates students to use their high order thinking skills. In a closed room, substances will evaporate until the room is saturated or a dynamic equilibrium is reached between the liquid or solid with saturated steam. The amount of vapor pressure depends on the type of substance and temperature. Substances with the large pull force between particles are difficult to evaporate. The greater the temperature, the saturated vapor pressure of a substance will be even greater. Table 1, the decrease in saturated vapor pressure. In the table, we can see solute, mole fraction of solute, the saturated vapor pressure solution, and the decrease of the saturated vapor pressure of the solution. And the solute, maybe we can see glycol and urea. Glycol and urea, mole fraction of solute that based on the data, the table 1, what conclusion can be drawn about the decrease in saturated vapor pressure of the solution? This is can answer by the student by conducting an experiment or by analysis the data from this table. Okay, next.
Sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Irman, but we have last 5 minutes now for you.
Okay, thank you. The other parameter is the validity of questions. Validity of question is commonly conducting and theoretical validity. That is content and construct validity by 3 expert or peer validator or focus group. This is important because to judge that that question is measure or assess the exactly indicator content, including substance of concept of the question, and the construction of the question, and the language aspect. Language aspect should mean is clear and not ambiguous. Most common in science chemical education research is theoretical validity. Okay, next. Okay, this is the simple form of validation. Question, answer of question, review, content, construction, language, score, 1, 2, 3, 4, and suggestion for revision. If the question is not valid, we can revise based on the suggestion from the validator. Okay, next. And other parameter is reliability. Reliability, we can determine this reliability through Crown batch alpha, that most common in scholarly work of educational research. And other way is split health, calculate product moment, and then calculate product moment correlation, and test retest, calculate product moment from the first test and the second test. Okay, next. Okay, the most important is difficult index. Difficult index is important because to determine that the number of students who answer right, and calculate the number of students, the proportion of students who answered right by dividing the number of students who answer right is RA by the total number of students in 40, and calculate difficult index. Difficult index, it means the consumer consists of difficult, moderate, and easy questions. If the questions are all difficult, then all students have difficulty answering, or vice versa. If all the questions are easy, all easy. Of course, the teacher hopes that all students can achieve competence and success in the exam. And lastly, okay, next. You can interpret using this interpretation table. Okay, next. Distinguishing power. Distinguishing powers is determine, this is important to enable questions should be distinguish students who achieve competence from those who have not, from those achieve the competence or not. Of course, the teacher hope all students can achieve competence. That our discussion. This is our discussion. Thank you very much for your attention to this presentation. Thank you. I am so sorry because the connection is not unstable. It's not good. I don't know why, but you can ask me through.
Any one question? Any one question from Dr. Irman?
Okay,
we are running out of time. Sir, we will take the questions from the audience, from the participants, and definitely we'll be in touch with you. And it will be a pleasure because everybody was enjoying it. Dr. Irman, it's a really great pleasure to have you today on this discussion. The presentation you have just given, really, it was really a pleasure listening to you and watching all the transparencies and slides. After many years, a professor of pure science education, we have heard. And I request all our participants, across, I mean, India and the Gulf and other countries, those who are participating in this program, kindly remain in touch with Dr. Irman. His email ID is with us. His connection is with us. He's really a wonderful man, contributing enormously in the field of chemical education and science education. He's the professor and head there. So thank you very much once again, sir, for spending so much of time. And we really all enjoyed it. And on behalf of the participants, thank you very much. Keep in touch with us, sir. Keep guiding us for the science education in India. And we shall remain in touch with you always. And I wish one day when everything will be normal, we'll try to get you to India and we'll have a good workshop here under your supervision. Thank you very much, Dr. Irman. So nice
Thank
of you.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Terima kasih, Bapak.
Thank you, sir. Terima kasih.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
We'll be grateful
Thank
to
you
if
so
you
much,
can.
sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
It was
Thank you,
We
sir.
should remain in touch with Dr. Irman
Thank you.
for
Could
science
you share
education.
the slides, sir? Could you share the slides with us?
Yeah, we'll share all the slides with you, ma'am.
Sir, on,
Thank you.
on our
Thank you.
email IDs.
Yeah, we will. You will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so
Thank you,
now
sir.
we have the third speaker, Dr. VP Singh. He's back with us. He's done PhD in chemistry as well as a PhD in education. He's a professor of science and head of the Department of the Division of Educational Kits at National Council of Education, Research and Training, that is NCRT, New Delhi. Dr. VP Singh is also the Vice President of Association of Chemistry Teachers. He is a renowned science educator and has done such workshops across the country. I welcome Dr. VP Singh now.
I welcome Dr. VP Singh, my friend and a scholar. Sean, you are sharing it?
Sir, his mic is muted. He's not. Please ask him to unmute the mic. Professor VK Singh, can you please unmute your mic?
Sir.
Yes. VK Singh, Dr. VK Singh. Unmute yourself. Yes. You unmute yourself, sir. Unmute yourself, sir. Unmute. You are not audible, sir. Join audio.
No, now. Am I audible now?
Yeah, you are audible now. Yeah, audible.
Okay, sir. Okay. We can continue, sir.
Sir, would you be sharing the PPT or should I do that?
Yes, sir. PPT, please. You run it.
Oh,
That side.
I'll start that.
This was mine. This is not his. Sean.
Oh, apologies, sir.
A very good. No, it's all right. It's all right. But do
just
it.
hold on for a second.
It's all right.
Other participants, can you please go on mute? I hope you guys can see my screen now. It's on.
Yes.
Professor VK Singh, sir, up to you. Please go ahead.
VP Singh.
Brijesh sir, Professor VK Singh had again got disconnected from audio.
My goodness.
I guess there's some issue, network
Let
issue.
me
on
call
the
him.
side.
Let me call him. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. What is happening? In Indonesia, as far off, we can just understand it.
Maybe because of the weather problems.
Weather, maybe reason. Yeah.
If he's using a Wi-Fi, maybe because of the Wi-Fi.
Yes.
नॉर्मल सॉल्व दो ना
ये लो आपको भी आया अभी आवाज आ रही मेरी ठीक है so can I start sir can I start sir
Yes sir, please go ahead, please start.
You can start sir, please start
Okay,
sir.
okay.
Yes sir.
Okay, so a lot of learning we have had through the presentation of Professor Pare and Rahman sir. A lot of theoretical background, how to construct quality emulsions. So in my presentation, I would like to focus on process-based questions. And because we know that the assessment can happen for three things: assessment as learning, assessment for learning, assessment of learning. So there must be some kind of application aspect should be presented in the form of STEM. Professor Pare has very well presented that STEM should have clear-cut problem. It should present a problem in clear words. And then we can expect the answers from the students. Let there be some kind of learning through the MCQs. They must get some new types of problems. So usually Bloom's taxonomy is based on the cognitive domain. There are three domains of personality, like cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. So usually our assessment through the boards, it has been focused on this Bloom's taxonomy, that is cognitive domain. However, in the CC pattern, continuous and comprehensive, word comprehensive includes other two domains also, that is affective domain and psychomotor domain. But in science, the psychomotor domain is assessed through the practical aspects in the laboratory, as well as like making of projects and presenting those things by the students. So we will be focusing on these knowledge, comprehension, application, skills, synthesis, analysis, evaluation. Professor Irman has pointed out what should be done in these things. We know that knowledge is just recalling the learning. Can we move to the next, please? Next, sir. Okay. Ability to recall previously learned material. And comprehension is ability to grasp meaning, explain, restate ideas. Ability to use learned material in new situation is the application. And ability to separate material into
Sean, share it, please share.
Is it not visible that side, sir?
The sir screen is already shared, it's visible.
Yes, sir, I can see it. Synthesis is ability to put together the separate ideas to form new whole, establish new relationships, and similarly ability to evaluate things, the material, to assess the things, the worth of material against stated criteria. Next, please, Sean. Next, sir. Next slide. Okay, examples of MCQ, I think some of the examples. These are the instructions usually that in MCQs we don't have that attempt some. It's attempt all questions. They are supposed to, whether it is in the school board exams like CBSE had some MCQs also in the science stream in under CC, and then read all questions carefully, choose answer one and tick mark or fill in the answer sheets. That's the other instruction. Next, please. Now, you can look at this item number 1. Water drops leave their mark on a glass strip or glass tumbler on drying. If there are some water drops left on the tumbler, after drying, there is some mark left. So these are the questions based on the science at the elementary level, that is 6 to 8th standard. So what is the reason? Because water is also a material. Water contains some undissolved substances. New substance formed due to reaction of water with glass, and then water contains some dissolved salts. So the answer to this is D, because there are some dissolved salts, and after that drying out, they remain in the form of solid. Water drops leave their mark on a glass strip or glass tumbler on drying because water contains some dissolved salts. Next, please. So this was the type of MCQ in which the stem was an incomplete statement. To complete that statement, we need to choose one of the given options from the given options. So these are the categories of MCQs, like giving some incomplete statement and asking for the answer to complete that, also giving the complete statements and asking the right answers, the best answer. Now, during heating of water in a container, the appearance of small size bubbles in the bottom of the container is due to which of the following? Whether the container is of steel or even glass, we can see some bubbles in the bottom in the initial heating before boiling. Due to particles of hot water, due to dissolved salts in water, due to dissolved air in water. So this is the correct answer, due to presence of bacteria in water. So C is the correct answer in this case. Next, please. A reaction between acid and bases is called neutralization. Which one of the following is not associated with the reaction? Neutralization ka jo reaction. Then evolution of heat, formation of water, formation of salt, absorption of it. So the answer is the last D. Next, please. Next, Sean. Which of the following associated with the process of galvanization? So it's plating of iron on copper, plating of copper on iron, or plating of zinc on iron, plating of copper on zinc. So it is answer is C, plating of zinc on iron. Okay, next, please. Next. Which of the following statement is not true about crystallization of a substance? Crystals are the pure form of a substance. It is example of a physical change. It is the result of a chemical change. Crystals can only be obtained from the solution of the same substance. So in this case, we have to find out which is not associated with the process of crystallization. So the answer is B. It's not a physical change, or sorry, answer is C. It's not a chemical change. It is just physical change, pure form of substance obtained from its solution. So answer is C in this case. Next, please. In 2 test tubes, we have aqueous solution of copper sulfate. We add some pieces of zinc in one and iron into the other. And after some time, we observe that the blue color of solutions almost disappear. What does it indicate? Copper does not get displaced from copper sulfate. B. Zinc and iron both displace copper from the copper sulfate solution because they are more reactive. Zinc and iron both are less reactive. Color of copper sulfate solution disappear on its own automatically. It's not visible here, but I know this. So answer in this case, they are more reactive than the copper, so they displace it from its solution, and that is why the color, the blue color of this salt solution disappears after some time. Next, please. Sean. Which of the following will be your observation while trying to heat water in a paper plate? I was live on Swam Prabha channel this morning, this afternoon, like even 12 to 45, and I displayed all those things there. So when I get those things on YouTube, I'll just send. So we can heat water in paper plate without burning it. We can heat water in polythene without deforming it, without burning it, and even the plastic pouch, even balloon on directly heating on candle flame. Water would get warm up. Now the questions are: water would get warm without burning of paper or polythene. Water would get hot in paper plate, but not in polythene. Water would get hot. So the answer is A in this case. Answer is A in this case. By putting water in a polythene, we can directly put on the candle flame. It happens. So through this process, we can explain that the ignition temperature is not reached of that material like paper, polythene, because of the presence of water on the other side that absorbs the heat, and it does not allow that material to reach its ignition temperature. That's why it does not burn and water gets hot. So this is some process based. These are some process based questions. Next, please. Next. When ferrous sulfate is heated strongly, it undergoes decomposition to form ferric oxide, which is a main product accompanied by a change in the color form. So what is the response? Like blue to green, green to blue, or green to brown. You know that ferrous sulfate is green and ferric sulfate is little brown. So its answer is C. Next, please. Next. Okay. So this is the diagram, and this question is taken from some CBSE model papers. So it's a diagram showing some experiment. So students will look at this diagram and they have to identify that the given setup is used for distillation of water, purification of water, electrolysis of water, or hydrolysis. Because this container is containing water and there are inverted test tubes on 2 electrodes. Oxygen and hydrogen are being separated. So obviously it is the electrolysis of water. Next, please. Okay, thank you. So these were some of the questions from the elementary science and 1 or 2 questions from secondary level chemistry, indicating that we should give some new ideas in the form of STEM and let those students think, and that helps the students to develop their higher order thinking skills. When we do some creative work and we put it in the form of STEM, and then the question should be based on those things. So these alternatives, like no book has mentioned that water can be heated in the polythene or even in the balloon. We did it this morning. I've been doing it for the last 10-15 years. There are examples that water can be heated in the paper plate or in paper cup by putting it on direct flame. But let us extend this kind of experience. What is the reason? And the reason, when I explained, I was also trying to heat water in the paper plate, ordinary slip pad and A4 size. We can just ask students to hold it, put some water, and then have even thermometer to see the temperature change. One of the teacher asked during a teacher training, sir, if this is the reason that the presence of water on the other side does not allow the temperature to raise up to the ignition temperature of that material, then can it happen in the polythene? Then we tried it there. Then I tried it later in balloon also, and today also. So please give this kind of learning through these questions. That's my request, that learning as assessment and learning for assessment. Learning of assessment, that is for the evaluation. But learning as assessment for assessment is for the formative purpose, so that students get new knowledge and their previous knowledge get strengthened. That is the purpose. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. opportunity. Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir,
sir.
for your words and insight. And now what we do is we are done with first half of our webinars for the day. Second half of the webinars, that is 3 speakers, we are going to have tomorrow, 3 p.m. Indian Standard Time. And all the PPTs and everything would be shared with you on WhatsApp or email. And you can post your questions there for the speakers. We'll try and answer it for you in the coming days. And today evening onwards, what you can do is you have heard all these 3 speak. So as you go for your evening stroll, you know how the format is, what you have to do next. So you can start thinking about the topic, your favorite topic, be it in biology, be it in physics, be it in chemistry. You can just sit and see how and what you're going to do in the next 5 days. So with this, I'd like to wrap up today's session. We had a great attendance today, almost 500 people here, and then another same on the YouTube live link that we have. So I'm thrilled actually. It's well begun is half done, but we are not done yet. Tomorrow we meet again at 3 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Please check your local timings. Okay. So see you tomorrow. We had a great time. Thank you. Bye-bye. Stay safe and take care. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all the participants. VP Singh sir. Dr. VP Singh, so nice of you for coming. Dr. Irman, please
Thank you, sir.
keep in touch.
Thank you.
So nice.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.